Alexa and I are fighting. So that's why we broke up. And that's why we can't even be in the same room as each other. So we are recording remotely for really both of our safety.
Right, pretty much. I mean, at the end of the day, you don't want to see a cat fight between us because it will be bad.
Or maybe you do. And speaking of a cat fight, this Wednesday we are hosting True Crime Trivia, and who knows what's going to happen. Maybe we will just turn this into a full-on UFC match, fun trivia, and we'll just get into it. We're trying to spice this up for you guys.
Yeah, we are. You know, we might turn into the Bella twins. I mean, everyone says that we are sisters anyway, so...
And I love the Bella twins.
I do too.
I used to watch their show, that the Divas show. What was it called?
Yeah, Total Divas.
Total Divas!
Yeah, I know. I do too. I love them. Okay, so I did something very stupid, like whenever I was getting ready. I sprayed on perfume. Like, thinking that I'm, like, going somewhere, but I'm not going anywhere. Like, I'm here at my house
That's hilarious.
And I spray on perfume. So, did it for the fans.
Yeah.
At least I smell good.
Exactly. I do that sometimes. I'll spray perfume, like, before I go to bed, just so I can lay there and smell myself. Is that weird?
A little bit.
Okay, well, now I feel awkward, and I'm sweating again, so...
Well, any other news other than like trivia night?
No, I mean, guys, this episode, we're recording the day before this episode's released, so it's not too late to say that trivia night is at St. City's on Wednesday. That's June 22nd.
Yep.
From 8 to 10. And there, when I say big prizes, I mean, like, I almost wish I was playing and not hosting. The prizes.
Me too.
Prizes are awesome, and drink specials, food specials. So if you're in Branson or the Springfield area, definitely come out and support your girls.
Yes, or even like Northwest Arkansas. I mean, it's only like an hour and 15 minutes away. So come and support.
I mean, even
love to see you.
Canadians, I mean, what are you guys, like 12 hours away? What is your excuse? West Coast, East Coast, what's that, like 24 hours? Like, get over it.
Just drive. It's not a big
If you start now, you'll make it in time.
Yep, you'll be there on Wednesday.
Gas is super cheap right now, so it's going to cost you like $100.
Yeah, right? That's it. Maybe a little more.
Yeah. Yep. Also, for people that are going to show up, we decided last minute that if you buy merch from us while we're there, we are going to give you a discount on merch, but you have to be there in person.
Yes.
So that's a great thing for both of us. So just
for sure.
Spend all your money on Wednesday night.
Yeah, just, bring your paycheck, just bring the actual paycheck, and then just pay for everything that night.
Yeah, just sign it over to us. We also we'll take the deed to your house, the title to your car, your dog. I don't care. Just whatever you have on hand, just bring it.
Whatever is valuable.
Yes. Your wedding ring. I don't care.
Whatever.
I'm not picky. I'm not hard to please.
Nope, not at all.
So, well, that's all my news.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about, too. This episode is going to be so good. I am seriously so excited to talk about this. Seriously, so freaking excited.
I'm excited because, I've obviously heard of MK Ultra, and I just ruined the surprise. It's MK Ultra, guys. So I've heard of this, but
ruiner of all things.
Yeah, she's here to ruin lives, really. Ruin lives and kiss babies. So, but I know you deep dive into this. I've kept up with it just on a modern day.
Right.
You hear little conspiracy theories. So I'm excited to get the full background and dive deep into dun 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 MK Ultra.
Boom, boom, boom,
boom, boom, boom, boom.
Anyway, so let's get started. Let me do the disclaimer, and we will talk about MK Ultra. So, our videos and podcasts are for entertainment purposes. All information discussed was found on the internet. Keep in mind, we will talk all things sinister that may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer and listener discretion is advised.
Boom.
That's it. So
Are we doing a drinking word?
Yes, we should. We should do a drinking word. And my something spiked, I made a margarita with Milagro tequila. So sponsor me, please. The podcast, everything. What are you drinking?
Oh, I was hoping that was going to pop, and that was so anticlimactic.
I heard it. Yeah.
I was like, so hoping for a real big so I'm finishing off the last. I love Tuscan wine. So this one's called, I guess, Ali, A-L-I. It's delicious, and it was a mega pint kind of day. So if you're 21 or older, sip along. If you're not, if you're a boo-boo baby, underage poopy head, then
then drink on your milk. Suck on that baba.
Go get your apple juice, you little child.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't be listening to us anyway.
Yeah. You should go tell on yourself to your parents. So,
because now you're grounded. No, just kidding. So we should do a drinking word. I was thinking either mind or LSD or
you don't want to use MK Ultra.
I mean, MK, we probably won't say MK Ultra a lot. I think we're going to say like control or mind a lot more. So
I say mind.
Well, now that I'm looking through, we will use MK Ultra.
Oh, how about we do CIA?
Yeah, we could do that.
How about this, guys?
Yeah,
we're going to leave
CIA. CIA is it. Yeah,
and if you have a full bottle of wine, then you can drink to whatever word you want. You can use all of the above. You can use CIA. You can
just drink along. Just get drunk.
Get a straw, put it in your bottle, and here we go. Okay, so CIA is going to be our official word, but, live your life.
Yes, CIA is our word. All right, you ready?
Yes.
All right. We are going to start with the history of MK Ultra. So what the fuck is MK Ultra, right?
What the fuck?
What is it? Well, MK Ultra was a top secret CIA project where they conducted hundreds, if not thousands, of illegal experiments while using LSD or other drugs for mind control, information gathering, and psychological torture.
Whoa. Can you repeat that? No, I'm just kidding.
Whoa, and what was that? No.
Whoa, start over. I already have questions.
Yeah, so, the CIA, they basically did, this illegal experiment with drugs, different tactics. And the project lasted from 1953 to 1973. But the details of this experiment was released in 1975. So although it was only a 20-year experiment, rumor is that it's still going on today. And we are going to dabble into a little bit of this. So I'm so excited.
Hell yeah. It's so exciting.
So exciting. So the goal of this was to have essentially ultimate control of a human being, so of a person, including their mind through brainwashing and psychological torture. And part of the mind control was achieved, again, by using different types of drugs, including paralytics, which is basically like a strong muscle relaxer where your mind is still awake, but your body is dead. Hypnosis, sensory deprivation, deprivation, isolation, verbal and sexual abuse, torture, and even electroshock therapy. So they literally tried anything possible negative to control a human being.
Crazy. They also used to do this to the gays. So where are my gays at?
Yeah, right. Or even the mentally ill. They did this a long time ago in mental hospitals.
Absolutely. Have you ever done a deprivation tank? I think I would have a panic attack.
Yeah, I don't think I could do it.
They're like, well, you're alone with your thoughts and you have no senses. You have no sight, sound, touch. I'm like, yeah, that sounds like my worst nightmare, to be honest.
Right, and I am the type of person, I can't shut my mind off.
Right.
You know, and it's hard, even like going to sleep. Like I start thinking of things. You know what I mean? And so
Oh,
it's
for
like,
sure.
we already talked about how I faked my hypnosis. Like,
Yeah.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
So funny. So funny.
I know. So during the Cold War, the CIA thought it would be a good idea to conduct this experiment on prisoners of war.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Let's take some murderous people and just
try it out.
Drug them up and shock the fuck out of them.
Oh, why not? Right? Sometimes these prisoners voluntarily did it, or they would know that what was going on, and then other times they didn't know. And again, these documents, you know, during the Cold War were destroyed. You know, and particularly during the first 10 years of this experiment. We're going to talk a little bit about the documents here in a minute. So I want to start with the first experiment. It was called Operation, well, there's a couple that happened around the same period of time. But one of the first ones was Operation Midnight Climax. And it literally sounds exactly what it is.
Like, sounds like a great start to a porno.
Right. Midnight Climax. Right?
Welcome to the Midnight Climax.
Hosted by the CIA.
Yeah. Oh, God. That when I was reading through the notes, that didn't click in my head, but just now as I'm like kind of following along, I was like, wait, Midnight Climax? I'm not going to be able to hold that one in. That's too good.
Right. So this was started in 1953. Basically, prostitutes were hired by the CIA to lure men into these safe houses in California and New York.
Oh, see, that's what they're doing. They're going to start with the people that no one, quote unquote, cares about.
Right. So the men had so essentially, you know, the women would lure the men into these houses, into these safe houses or hotels, and the CIA would be watching, you know, behind like a double mirror, right? The women would make the men a drink, and ultimately in the drink, they put LSD in it. Men had no idea that they were being drugged and no idea that they were being watched again by the CIA on the other side of that one-way glass. Whether it was a window in the safe house, whether it was, you know, a mirror or whatever the case may be.
I mean, they probably deserved it. Don't all white men?
Right. Yeah, they deserve it. So in this experiment, the victims were fed subliminal messages and attempts to induce them to involuntary actions, including criminal activity. They wanted to see if they could get these people that weren't criminals to become criminals. They wanted to see if these people would commit crimes such as robbery, assault, and even assassination, which is crazy. We're going to go down a crazy rabbit hole in a minute.
Well, and part of it wasn't it too to just see if they would just like snap in general, which I guess if you snap, you're more than likely to commit some sort of crime, but it was like to break their minds.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Like I read, I either read it or I heard it in a documentary where they had taken this guy, he used to be, or was a former like pastor or preacher or whatever, clearly wasn't at the time, but they had drugged him, right? And it wasn't in this experiment, but they drugged him with LSD, and he was like the prime target. He's like, okay, this guy is a great citizen. He's a great man, great father. We want to see what we can do. We want to create him or have him be created into a monster and see if he would snap. And they were actually successful. He committed, you know, different acts of assault on multiple people. You know, of course, like they set up the whole stage and they set up the whole incident, but it was achieved and it was wild.
Wow, that's so sad. Like, just especially on the people who weren't aware of what was happening, but even to the people who volunteered for the shit and like their lives were ruined forever because of it.
Yeah. So many of the CIA operatives involved in this experiment or in multiple experiments voluntarily indulged in the drugs and the prostitutes for recreational purposes as well. So not only were the CIA agents telling, people to drug people, but they were doing the drugs and partaking with the prostitutes as well.
Yeah, it's kind of like when me and my ex dabbled in marijuana and we're like, well, we got to smoke it. It's part of the job. I mean, we got to know our product.
Right.
No.
I mean, you don't have to, but you chose to. I mean, you might as well be educated in it, right?
Right. So I don't blame them there, is what I'm getting at.
Gosh, right. I mean, they saw what fun it was. They're like, hey, we got to do this. What's going to happen to us? Why not?
They're like, I don't want to be gay anymore. Shock me up, baby.
Or I don't want to be straight anymore. I want to be gay.
Yeah.
Give me some of that LSD. What's going to happen?
I've always wanted to be a felon and ruin my life. So, like, what better time than the present?
So the CIA stated that their goal was to see what would happen with mind control and sexual behavior. Again, they just wanted to see how much control they could actually get.
And turns out it's a lot. So
yeah, it's a lot. So again, this is still 1953. There was a possible death due to this Operation Midnight Climax. There's a man named Frank Olson. He was a scientist who worked for the CIA and the U.S. Army in biological warfare, and particularly in labs.
Okay. Sounds like a smart guy. Don't know why you volunteer, but...
Well, he didn't. So he didn't volunteer. He apparently committed suicide by jumping out of a window of his hotel room in New York City. Frank had drank a cocktail that was laced with LSD that was later, determined. And then he jumped out of his hotel room, out of the window. It was like 20 stories high. At this time, he was on a business trip with the CIA as well. So
casual,
right? He was from Canada, so him and his family lived in Canada. When this happened and his family was notified, his family knew, no, Frank would not commit suicide. This is wrong. Something happened. So they sued the government, and they were awarded $750,000 for this. I'm not going to get too much into the weeds because I want everyone to watch the Netflix documentary called Wormwood. It's great. It's
so
such a
good.
great story. And it's about the story, right?
Yeah. It's so good, guys. It will also have you, like, watching your back.
Yeah.
But it's so good.
Yeah. So this documentary tells it from the family's perspective. So a little more about this situation. Years later, obviously they didn't just instantly sue, the government. It happened years later, like I want to say it was 20 years later. It was in 1974 is when they sued. They exhumed his body and they determined that he did not commit suicide, which is wild. And that is why they were able to sue the government. So this kind of goes hand in hand into the whole MK Ultra and the mind control of how bad this actually was.
Yeah, and how much, how they were the CIA was not only able to cover it up, but they kept doing it. And it was, it sounds like something like a conspiracy theory. It sounds like something that you would hear coming out of like a country like China or Russia but guys, I believe that there are things that the government shouldn't share with us. I think there are things that the public people just cannot handle. But something like this is baffling that as a civilized, strong nation, we took part in. That's what blows my mind. So, anyways.
Yeah, we did take part in it. And unfortunately, many people died. And we'll talk a little bit about that later. Many people died, including this man who was a strong, smart person. and an influential person, you know, in the government as well. And again, like, this was not voluntary on his behalf. Like, he did not want to do any drugs. He did not want to partake in the experiment. He knew about the experiment. He was actually kind of writing about the experiment as well. And he's like, no, I want no part of it. And then they freaking drugged him to see what would happen. So
They're like, yeah, but do you want this margarita?
it's
And then
really good.
It's
It has
really good.
fresh squeezed orange juice.
Super strong. Don't get me wrong. It's very strong, but you're going to love it.
So that's a little bit about Project Midnight Climax, as it sounds, right? Now I want to talk about two other projects, Project Bluebird and Project Artichoke. I know, crazy names, right?
I love these names.
I know. So these actually lasted for years, like decades. It's dated to start back in 1951, so August 20th, 1951. But if we talk about MK Ultra, the documents state that it started in 1953. So there's quite a bit of inconsistencies because a lot of the documents were destroyed. So nobody really knows when it truly started, but they know the peak of the experiments were in that 20-year gap between 1953 and 1973. So it's crazy.
Yes.
Again, these two projects and experiments were operated and hosted by the CIA, of course.
My mega pint got small real quick.
I know, right? The goal of these projects were to determine whether or not a person could be made to perform an act of an attempted assassination. That was the main goal of these projects. One of the documents stated, and this is quoted, "Can we get control of an individual to the point where he will do our bidding against his will and even against fundamental laws of nature, such as self-preservation?" So again, that's kind of telling you, like, will they go to the absolute extreme of the extreme and commit, you know, these crimes?
Yeah. So sad.
So crazy. And, you know, most of the time they were, you know, drugged, right? Whether they were drugged from, you know, they started with marijuana. They wanted to see what would happen with mind control there. Then they went to coke. Then they went to heroin. They even used peyote. They used acid. And then finally they're like, nope, LSD. That's it. That's where we have the most control of our victims.
Yeah.
And I'm saying victims because they're not subjects. Like, they were victims.
So sad. I mean, and LSD obviously peyote can be one hell of a drug. But at least from what I know of I shouldn't say that. I was thinking ayahuasca. I was gonna you can't really function, but peyote, from what I do know, growing up in a very Native American place, is out of all of those drugs, LSD is the most what is the word? Chemically controlling. Yeah. Like, obviously marijuana, it is a natural substance and you can get pretty fucked up on it, but you're not going to get fucked up to a point of hallucinating like crazy or being like out of control. Like, worst case scenario, you fall asleep and like eat a bunch of Cheetos. Right. But LSD is like a different ball game when it comes to your like mind altering.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it is chemical. Right? It's not like peyote or shrooms or weed. It's not natural. It's chemicals. So all of the victims, after being drugged with LSD, they all had amnesia. And so for those of you that don't know what amnesia is you can't fucking remember. What I call CRS syndrome. Can't remember shit. Because you seriously... You seriously can't. So every single one of these victims had amnesia, where there were parts of the memory that they could not remember at all. Literally.
I think that's so scary. That's so, I think not being able to remember, especially when, you weren't blackout drunk the night before. Those moments, I just can't imagine just being I don't know where my life was 48 hours ago.
Or for 2 months or 3 months. Some of these experiments, and we'll talk about it, lasted for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 120 days. Like, these people had no idea. And then they were just dumped on the side of the street or dumped in front of their house, confused. Like, what the fuck? They had no idea what day it was, what time it was, what had happened, literally nothing. And, you know, we talk a little bit about MK Ultra with David Parker Ray and the Toy Box Killer, right? We talked about that in one of our earliest episodes, and he did this, and he was in the military, and so he learned this behavior somehow, some way, and he drugged his victims with LSD, and they didn't remember what had happened to them.
And there was a ton of mind control there too, when he would play the VHS or the tape or whatever on a loop of what he was gonna do to them. Like, that is definitely a mind control break you
tactic.
Until you crack kind of tactic.
Yeah.
So, I mean, also, I don't know if you're going to make the correlation later, but keep in mind, guys, I know we joke around about the 70s being a fucked up time, but we're looking at MK Ultra lining up 50s to 70s, and the peak of the serial killer was in the 70s.
Absolutely.
And which means we're talking about people who were born in the 50s, on average, some in the 40s. But, I mean, they went through this period where MK Ultra was under the radar, undetected, and then we have this insane spike in serial killers in the 70s. So keep that in mind.
Yes,
Just saying, I cracked the code.
You did, right? And that's one thing that I think we'll have to touch on whenever we cover, like, Charles Manson and the Manson family.
Yes.
Like, because there's a huge, like, conspiracy and rabbit hole that, you know, we could easily go down.
For sure.
But one of the longest victims was on LSD for 177 days. Literally drugged every single day for 177 days. That's like half.
That sounds fucking miserable. Like, can you imagine how depleted his body was of just
everything,
energy, of literally everything?
Yeah. So,
sleep and
yeah, I can't even imagine. You know, the CIA wanted to establish the control of, as well, like, weaker and lesser people. So, as you heard in Operation Midnight Climax, like, they used prostitutes. They paid prostitutes to technically lure in Johns and drug Johns. And if we think about men who are paying for prostitution, I mean, yeah, you're going to get a whole realm of different type of people because, unfortunately, sex sells. But for the most part, it's going to be like lesser, weaker people.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
The CIA also reported that if this succeeded, then these assassins could be created to assassinate a prominent politician if necessary, including an American official. And this was in the document. So, again, y'all can go down this rabbit hole with the whole JFK assassination. I'm not even going to go there, but all I'm going to tell you is the date was November 22nd, 1963. So you can read about that all you want, which would have been in the middle of the experiment.
Yup. Ding, ding, ding.
Right. Another part of these projects had to do with diseases. Now, I'm not going to go too far into this rabbit hole either, but including a disease called the dengue fever. Basically, this was a mosquito-borne tropical illness or tropical disease, which was an RNA virus similar to the Zika or the West Nile virus. Symptoms of this disease include fever, headache, vomiting, muscle pain, skin rash, and itching. One of the documents that survived stated, quoted, "Not all viruses have to be lethal. The objective includes those that act as short-term and or long-term incapacitating agents." So this tells you part of this was not only to assassinate a person in power, but as well as to create these diseases to either achieve short-term or long-term goals.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, they were basically wanting to make a human zombie or a human like puppet.
They were wanting to make human hysteria. Like, and that's exactly what they did. Yeah.
Watch out, guys.
Watch out.
If a CIA agent offers you a margarita, say no. Just say no, Reagan.
Yeah, okay, just say no, right. So we said CIA.
And down the hatchet.
Yeah, you better fill that up.
I know. Well, my bottle's empty now. Okay, guys, we're back. I had to break for a drink, and now I'm drinking Chardonnay. So what a change.
So, we've talked about a couple of the projects. There were so many projects. I mean, I could have included them all, but we would be here for like 3 hours. But essentially, all of them did the same thing. They wanted to see what kind of control they could gain by drugging people with LSD and wiping their memory.
Yep.
So some of the records that, were recovered, I'm going to go over them here in a minute. But again, most of these records were destroyed, literally by the CIA and by the CIA director, Richard Helms himself.
Was there a Project Monarch, or am I making that up?
You're making that up, but we are going to get into that. So, into Monarch.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I'll talk about that here in a second.
Okay.
There were over 150 MK Ultra projects, just so people are aware how many projects there were. And we just talked about 3 of them.
And these were all CIA operated?
Yes.
Okay.
All CIA operated.
Wow. Like proven 150 projects.
Over 150.
Over.
Yes.
Holy moly.
Yep. Again, all of these occurred within that 20-year period that we know of, and also the time of the Watergate scandal. So I've talked about quite a few different rabbit holes that y'all can go down. So have fun.
Wow. Wow.
Right. One document from 1955 was not destroyed. And the reason why it wasn't destroyed is because when all the other documents were destroyed, they were filed in certain areas, right? This one document was actually filed as a financial document, and so therefore it wasn't destroyed. So whoever filed it should be fired, or probably was killed, to be honest, but let's not go down that rabbit hole either, because the government's great. The CIA is great, right? They're awesome. Anyway,
we love them.
We love them. But this document was filed in a financial file, so this is how we know these details.
Wow, that person should be celebrated, but you're right, was probably assassinated.
Probably. So I am going to read all of these items from the document because it is key to understand exactly what MK Ultra is. Here we go. Substances which will promote illogical thinking and impulsiveness to the point where the recipient would be discredited in public. Number 1. Substances which increase the efficiency of mentation and perception. Materials which will prevent or counteract the intoxicating effects of alcohol. Materials which will promote the intoxicating effects of alcohol. Materials which will produce the signs and symptoms of recognized diseases in a reversible way so that they may be used for malingering or etc. Materials which will render the induction of hypnosis easier or otherwise enhance its usefulness.
Oh my God, it's so scary.
Substances which will enhance the ability of individuals to withstand privation, torture, and coercion during interrogation and so-called brainwashing. Materials and physical methods which will produce amnesia for events preceding and during their use. Physical methods of producing shock and confusion over extended periods of time and capable of perpetuous use. Like, these are just crazy. Like,
these are like top-notch. Yeah, torture tactics, like top notch.
Yeah.
Like this is some Nazi shit.
Literally some fucking Nazi shit, which they did do this during the concentration camps as well, which is just crazy. But substances which will produce physical disablement, such as paralysis of the legs, acute amnesia, etc. Substances which will produce pure euphoria with no subsequent letdown. Substances which alter personality structure in such a way the tendency of the recipient to become dependent upon another person is enhanced. A material which will cause mental confusion of such a type the individual under its influence will find it difficult to maintain a fabrication under questioning. Substances which will lower the ambition and general working efficiency of men when administered in undetectable amounts. Substances which promote weakness or distortion of the eyesight or hearing faculties, preferably without permanent effects.
Preferably, but not guaranteed.
Yeah. A knockout pill, which can be administered in drinks, food, cigarettes as an aerosol, etc., which will be safe to use, provide a maximum of amnesia, and be suitable for use by agent types on an ad hoc basis. That's fucking scary.
Okay, wait. An aerosol as an aerosol. So like there's spray. It's like a gas.
That's terrifying.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, and then that is like straight up Nazis. Like that's what the Nazis did.
I know. And this is the last one. A material which can be administered by the above routes and which in very small amounts will make it impossible for a person to perform physical activity. So this tells you right here in this document what their goals were and how they were achieving these goals.
Yeah, and as far as when it says substances or materials, guys, I mean, that's LSD, shock therapy, lethal amounts of alcohol. I mean, what else would it be?
Yeah, it's terrifying.
I want to know what the aerosol is. Like arson?
Yeah,
or not
I
arson.
don't know. Arsenic.
What am I thinking? Arsenic, like small amounts of arsenic. I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure that
or chloroform. I don't know.
Chloroform. Whew,
yeah.
Man, that is a bold list. That is
bold list. So, you can see what the CIA, documented. And of course, you can go down the rabbit hole of reading all the documents. But this was one that I found super interesting because, again, it talks about all the tactics that they did and that they were trying to succeed in. And they clearly did.
I mean, yeah, succeeded. And listen, I understand that there are things that our government needs to do to crack codes and to be better. And sometimes those things aren't always humane, and sometimes those things should not be released to the public because we don't understand how or why it happens. But this to me is mind blowing because they state their goals, and their goals all come down to mind control. Yes. And it's like, I don't think in any capacity we need that. I don't think that's something.
At the end of the day, you are involuntarily choosing people, like innocent people that don't deserve this. Like the prisoners were okay, whatever. But like innocent people that don't deserve this, that aren't criminals, that aren't prisoners, like why? Why?
Well, and to be fair, I think too that being said, even the people who would quote unquote volunteer to do this, they should be protected because obviously that drastic things are going to happen. Like they shouldn't just be released into the public to go and
No.
commit these crimes, to go
No.
and commit murder,
No.
to become like psychopaths. Like they should be lifelong protected. Like you decided to do an insane experiment on them. It's kind of like the people who go and test makeup. Like if they get burns, if they get deformities, if they get sick, like those people should be covered and you should treat them because they volunteered
Right.
to test your product and risk their face or whatever.
Right.
So it's
Right.
like you're doing something so extreme that can potentially create a serial killer or a criminal or just a psychopath, and
Or a
you need to be
school
held
shooter,
responsible.
or an active shooter. I mean,
Or a famous pop star.
like, yeah, there's so many different rabbit holes that you can go through, you know, with this story.
And we're going down a few of them, so.
Yeah, just a few. So want to talk about monarch programming. So the old term is MK Ultra. The new term is monarch programming. And there is a thing called Project Monarch. However, the CIA does not say, or they don't own it. The government doesn't own Project Monarch for the most part. So
It's like a private, or they're just pretending like they don't own it.
that's my guess.
That one?
That's my guess.
Okay, got it.
So, monarch programmers and this, I took this verbatim, like, because they stated it perfectly in this document that I found. It says monarch programmers, God, I can't talk.
Monarch crammers.
Monarchers.
Our little
Oh,
butterflies.
Yeah, the butterfly programmers cause intense trauma to subjects through the use of electroshock, torture, abuse, and mind games in order to force them to dissociate from reality. A natural response in some people when they are faced with unbearable pain, which we've talked about with dissociative identity disorder. The subject's ability to dissociate is a major requirement, and it is apparently most readily found in children that come from families with multiple generations of abuse. Mental dissociation enables the handlers to create walled-off personas in the subject's psyches, which can then be programmed and triggered at will. Monarch mind control is named after the monarch butterfly, an insect who begins its life as a worm, representing underdeveloped potential, and after a period of cocooning, aka programming, is reborn as a beautiful butterfly, the monarch slave. Some characteristics specific to the monarch butterfly are also applicable to mind control. The basis for the success of the monarch mind control programming is that the different personalities or personality parts called alters can be created who do not know each other, but who can take the body at different times. So, again, this mind control, this MK Ultra has graduated. It's put on its big boy pants because it is now at a completely different stage from where it was. And it's publicized.
Yeah. And obviously we can get into symbolism with all of that, but it kind of goes back to what I said, like, if you're trying to experiment on how we can control the mind of someone who, let's say, is a pedophile, and maybe we can get control of his mind, we can change his ways, and it's sort of like, I mean, again, it's kind of like what they thought they could do with the gays. I could see where that would be an interest for public safety, but this is almost the complete opposite.
It's the opposite.
Let's see how we can control these seemingly innocent or just nobody people.
Right.
Or, and again, as we'll read on, celebrities or people of status. Let's see if we can control these people who can benefit us, whether it's financially, whether it's politically or socially, and just take it as far as we can go. And that's where I'm like, whoa. Like, if we're trying to, like, change the pedophiles, or we're trying to take a serial killer and make them not a serial killer, all about it. Not saying,
but they don't. They do the complete opposite.
Exactly.
The complete opposite. They are literally They are literally trying to make people crazier. And I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole because it's just like not even worth it. We will get canceled. But they are seriously trying to make people crazier and create mass hysteria so everybody listens. At the end of the day,
it's all for their gain. It's political, financial, social, worldly.
Yes.
I mean, it's scary.
It is scary. And part of this MK Ultra and this Monarch programming, people can easily be snapped into this by specific sounds, by specific words, by, for example, under hypnosis. I forget that little thing that they use. The two little things like hit together. What's that called?
Pendulum?
Yes. Yeah, or they have like that sound machine. Yes, I think so. Or they have that sound machine that makes that noise.
Yeah, and that's actually a musical device, and the fact that I can't remember what that's called is going to eat at my brain. Wow. Do I work in music? No. Anyways,
Yes, that. What's it called?
Shit. I see it every single time I work in GarageBand too. GarageBand has like a digital one.
Yeah.
What is that called? We're not moving on until we figure this out. Hold on. A ticker for music. Metronome. That's what it's called.
Yes. So
metronome.
That is used, that is used, and can easily snap somebody into this mind control. And so I didn't go down that rabbit hole either of how hypnosis and MK Ultra go hand in hand. But if you think about being under hypnosis, essentially what you are doing is you are allowing that handler to control your mind and to bring out these type of either behaviors or memories that have been, put away for some period of time that maybe you don't remember, but you are allowing that handler to have control. And that's all what the mind control MK Ultra and Monarch programming is about, is having that essential control of the human population. And there are some examples in today's world. When I say today, we have examples of the last 15 years, I'd say.
Yeah, maybe even just like a little further back, because obviously the MK Ultra or the techniques would have taken place before we started seeing the crazy.
Yeah.
So, do you want me to get into that?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
So here's a few examples. Keep in mind, this is all alleged. Please don't sue us, and you can think what you want. So
again, everything was found on the internet.
Yeah, so shut the fuck up and listen. Okay, so first one being Amanda Bynes. We saw the decline of Amanda Bynes. It was rapid. It was nuts. And listen, we can play devil's advocate. You don't need to preach it, Alexa and I. Behind the podcast, we played devil's advocate, and celebrities are tortured every single day by paparazzi and lack of privacy and being overworked and a ridiculous amount of money, things like that. So, but we're just gonna play the other side of things for now. So we get it. Don't come for us. I don't know why I just got so abrasive, but I did. So. Shut up. Okay, so Amanda Bynes, obviously her life took a quick downward spiral. And if you watch videos of her, you can obviously relate to MK Ultra because she snaps. I mean, there's tics for her, and that's kind of part of the hypnosis mind control. And at one point, she said directly, "I will not be manipulated or brainwashed anymore." So again, could be Nickelodeon, could be all of that shit. But obviously, when you see a celebrity say things like that, and you just instantly relate it. But definitely go down the Amanda Bynes rabbit hole. It's fascinating. So the next is Miley Cyrus. I want to say too that MK Ultra in recent years is obviously it is kind of lumped into satanic worship and Illuminati things with celebrities. So a lot of the symbolism can be linked.
For sure.
There was obviously like the monarch butterfly is a huge symbol. Sticking your tongue out is a huge symbol. There's colors that are symbols, and demonic symbols are sometimes linked with MK Ultra. And quick side note too, as we talk about all of this, I did kind of Google what it means when they say celebrities sell their souls to the devil. It doesn't necessarily mean you have a talk with the devil in your bed late at night.
No.
And you say, I want to be rich. And in your mind, you're like, okay, devil, make this deal. It means that you get in contact with higher ups in society, whether they be government, whether they just be rich people, and you say, I want to be famous. They take you to this party. They expose you to sexual
tendencies.
What's the word?
Yeah,
sexual exploitation. They expose potentially things like they could make you undergo MK Ultra, and then they use that against you in exchange for fame and money. So when we say sold your soul to the devil, like that's what we mean. And it's theory that MK Ultra is one of those ways to sell your soul. Yeah. So we look at people like Miley Cyrus. Obviously, she took a huge turn and she does outlandish things, but your deep dive homework would to be look up Tongue Tied, which is one of her music videos. It's just creepy. So do what you will with that. The next is Kanye West. Need I say more?
Yeah. Right.
Like, need I say more? He snaps. He has tics. You see, he's infamous. Like, it's a meme where he'll be grinning and then instantly shut off his emotions. That's a sign of mind control, brainwashing, and lingering side effects of shock therapy. So, and in an article that reads, Kanye breaks out of his programming and lashes out at his concerts. He is then abruptly hospitalized or rehabilitated. So just, again, signs of quick recovery. And
whenever they say, with MK Ultra and mind control or monarch programming, whenever they say hospitalized or rehabilitated, rumor is that they aren't going to like an actual rehab that you or I would go to if we had a drug addiction, or an actual mental facility if you or I had, an issue, right? They're going to be mind controlled or monarch programs. So
and
that's another
if you
thing,
think about it,
crazy.
If you go through a process, it's almost like something like once you do it, you either got to recover, you have to get help outside of that society, or you have to keep undergoing it. Like if your body is exposed to extreme amounts of LSD, sleep deprivation, shock therapy, and all the and just other forms of deprivation. And then let's say you're a celebrity, you get out in the world, you're fully exposed. Well, then when you get overwhelmed with that and you have one of your mental breaks, what's the best way to heal that? Going back, getting drugged up, going through shock therapy, and getting reprogrammed. Because you can't take it. Like your mind is just mashed potatoes. Yeah. So Rihanna is another alleged victim. Her videos show a lot of MK Ultra programming. So again, if you want to specifically dive down that rabbit hole, you can. One of the ones this is one that really fucking freaks me out, and that's Al Roker. Yeah. So there is a news clip, and all you have to do is Google like Al Roker, MK Ultra, or Al Roker freezes, or so basically they are in the middle of a Times Square interview, and they are talking about, oops, I just lost my place. Okay, so it's on the Today Show. This is from 2012. They're talking about something, and one of the other co-hosts says something they say the word Holy Ghost, but they say it in the context of like, oh, it's like she saw the Holy Ghost. And Al Roker, it's like his body stiffens and he just zones out. Doesn't move, doesn't blink. And this is for like several seconds.
Yeah, so I would say at least like a minute.
it's long enough that people noticed.
Yeah.
And then he kind of like comes to. Mm-hmm. So it's like they're all joking and having a good time. And, oh, it's actually saw the Holy Ghost. Boom.
Yeah.
Freeze.
Yeah.
Don't move. Don't breathe. And then he shakes himself out of it. But again, it's supposed to be one of the triggers of hypnosis, especially, and this is where satanic stuff gets, Holy Ghost, any biblical references, anything referring to like
God or Christ or God. The Bible. Yeah.
So that was nuts. The one of the other symbolisms is like the one eye, covering up one eye, doing the okay symbol by your eye, doing the okay symbol at all, whatever. So Lady Gaga is known for this. And again, playing devil's advocate, I understood Lady Gaga's like fame tactics from day one. I'm like, oh, she's gonna act fucking nuts. She's gonna act crazy to get attention, and then once she's famous and everyone knows her, she's gonna tone it down. Like the meat suit. I'm like, this is all an act. But she has played into the symbolism for a really long time. And in 2009, she was in an interview, and the host said, "Oh, good Lord," and you can see it cutting to her, and she had already been covering one of her eyes and was like taking it down when the camera cut to her. Like the interview was, yes. And this is Lady Gaga in her weird phases. So keep that in mind too. Like homegirl was crazy, but, still the one eye cover up thing wasn't even something that would have been part of the crazy act. Right. It was just like, oh, good Lord, boom, like take it down. Freaky as fuck. I didn't like that.
Oh, yeah.
Then, obviously, due to shock therapy, celebrities or victims, there's a gnat. Victims are said to have like
tremors.
Not seizures. Well, tremors. Yeah. Like in your fingers and your arms, like twitches almost. So Kylie Jenner was seen in an episode on Life of Kylie. She was filming a therapy session, and she did have a weird spasm, a hand clench, and as she was filming about a therapy session and said, I've always wanted to try it out, and that's when her hand clenches, and it does this weird, but while she's doing it, it also does this with her hands. I guess for people listening, it's like the rock symbol, or is this rock? Or this is rock?
Yeah.
And then this is what I love you.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was either one of the two, either the rock symbol or the I love you symbol, which people also say is also a demonic hand symbol. So there goes that. But as somebody with hand seizures, I sympathize with Kylie. So,
and no, Cadence has not gotten electroshock therapy. So
I was electrocuted once.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of that, but not electroshock therapy.
I did grab an electric fence when I was in high school, and it shocked the fuck out of me. But other than that, I have not made any deals with the devil. But Kylie, my heart goes out to you. This next one is Katy Perry. I told Alexa that I do have a little bit of knowledge on this. So at a concert, she is in a green dress with a rainbow feather boa. I am a Katy Perry stan. I fucking love this woman. Anyways, I don't care if she's a Satanist. I love her. So don't get mad, Alexa. If we find out that she drinks kids' blood, I will consider not listening to her. But obviously, I'll consider it, okay? But obviously, she's a lot like Lady Gaga. Like, she uses a lot of symbolism, a lot of third eye references. But in one of her concerts, and you can find these videos all over YouTube, she starts saying, I'm not feeling so well. She's kind of like mumbling, and she just full on fucking passes out, kind of flops a bit before she's carried off stage. Now, I told Alexa, I saw that concert. She does that in every single concert. She just got done doing a rock version of I Kissed a Girl, and a bunch of girls like sexually are coming out and dancing. And so she's acting like she's getting overheated. But the rumor is that she that wasn't originally part of the bit. She did have a pass out, freak out moment in a concert, and to cover up that anything was wrong with her, she included that in the skit. So, you know, what came first, chicken or the egg?
Right.
Just to add, because I did find a few more, you can go down to Bollywood, which if you don't know what Bollywood is, it's kind of like Indian Hollywood. It's very like over dramatized TV, but there is a shit ton of MK Ultra stuff relating to Bollywood and the Indian government, I guess you would call it. Yeah. Too much. It was too many foreign names and like locations that I was like, I'm going to get lost. That would be a whole other episode. Right. There's some symbolism with Cardi B. Obviously, the recent school shootings, there's conspiracy that these children have undergone MK Ultra. Right. But I thought this was fascinating is Roseanne Barr. So,
yes.
Roseanne Barr. Yes, and I found one little thing I want to read is that obviously she has been pretty outrageous. She was one of the first like major celebrities to come out as a full-on lesbian. She looked the part, quote unquote, stereotypical lesbian. So she made waves with that. She is an outrageous, outspoken comedian, but she did kind of go off the deep end in the recent years with like some substance abuse, getting canceled. Right. So she came out and made a statement. So it was in a television interview. It was a CNN interview with Larry King. This aired October 16, 2001. Roseanne talks about trauma-based mind control and MK Ultra. So I'm only going to read like the important stuff, but well, let's see. So basically, Larry King, he addresses that you have a serious psychological disorder. Let's see, blah, 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 blah. And then Larry King makes this statement, whether it's deliberately induced or naturally occurring. And then Roseanne says, well, I have this head shrinker, and he says it's deliberately induced because the CIA is where they started inducing it when after they brought all the Nazis over from Germany to run American Psychiatric Association. So she was like kind of making a joke, but like what have we said this entire time? Like these are Nazi practices, but I'm sorry, Nazis to like an extreme. So Larry King says, what are you about? And Roseanne says, I'm telling you the truth. It is all mind control and all kinds of things to invent people with multiple personalities. Larry King, so have you been captured by Nazis? Roseanne, the government. Well, in a way, I believe the government has implanted some kind of chip in my head where Larry King stops her and says, Roseanne. And she says, is monitored by Barbara Walters and these other women, and they take all my ideas, and I'm, he goes on with the interview, and they kind of like make jokes about it, but it's like, even Larry King, who I guess I don't know if he's still associated with CNN, obviously was associated with, that kind of surprises me that Larry King is associated with CNN, but anyways. Right. Even stops her, even stops the crazy to say, Roseanne, wait, before you take this too far. And she's like, no, this is what it is.
This is what's going on.
I watched Joe Rogan's interview with Roseanne because I was a little disturbed by some of her comments. I think it was about the LGBT people, and I'm like, oh,
yeah,
that's what it was. The racist stuff. And listen, I'm not for canceling. I don't care what you do, I shouldn't say I don't care what you do. I'm not for canceling people based on their thoughts and personal feelings.
Canceling.
Fully canceling. Now, if you're raping children, obviously, go to
for sure.
But based on people's personal thoughts and feelings in a moment of weakness, I'm not for canceling. But the Roseanne thing did slightly disappoint me. But when I listened to Joe Rogan's podcast, where she got to fully explain what her mind has been through and what she has been through in the industry, I'm like, There's some serious fucked up
trauma
shit going on here.
Yeah, there's some serious trauma.
She's been done wrong. And so when I found this stuff with Larry King, I'm like, oh, I'm surprised she didn't fucking murder someone. Like a racist comment. Racist comments are bad, but compared to what she was actually capable of, if she actually went through MK Ultra, like, get out.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
So,
for sure. And I also read part of, that whole rabbit hole was that she was programmed to say a lot of those things. So who knows?
Yeah.
Like, who knows what happened? I mean,
who knows? She was a beloved character with a show that ran for decades. And I think, I could be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure she started asking for more money, which led to like the downfall and it's like, oh, this bitch is asking for more money. How about a reprogramming instead? And then all of a sudden, bam, like she's this outlandish racist. Right. So it just kind of makes you think. Obviously, there's the Britney Spears conspiracy, and we don't even need to tap on it because there's a million things that you could relate Britney Spears to MK Ultra.
So many things.
And what was freaking me out, Alexa, is you mentioning in the official CIA documents is like having handlers. And that has been nothing but the topic of discussion with Britney. It's the theory of her new husband. I mean, the reprogramming, the downward spiral, the not being, and keeping her confined so she doesn't hurt herself, so she doesn't hurt other people. I mean, that's a whole other rabbit. I mean, it's scary when you think about it, and it's scary to know that this is not fully a conspiracy. People went through this, and there's official government documents that show the CIA has admitted that this is what happened.
Right.
And it's just like, well, where did it officially end? I think is the real question.
Yeah, and I don't think it has ended. I truly don't. I don't think it's ended. I think, and you can read all about the victim statements and what they went through. Particularly that you can find it from 1974 on, and even like today. And, people want to say that celebrities are crazy. Like we talked about a lot of the crazy ones, Amanda Bynes, Miley Cyrus, Britney Spears, Kanye West, we could throw like Nicki Minaj in there. She's come out saying she has multiple personalities and stuff like that. And so it's like they want to make these celebrities look crazy because essentially this stuff is still happening. It has to still be happening.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things, when you catch a liar, one of two things are going to happen. They're going to stop or they're going to become a better liar.
Right.
And why would they stop? So it was working for them. They were absolutely getting exactly what they wanted out of it. So it's like, did they become better liars?
Yeah.
We're not going to know until the next document gets leaked, thanks to the guy who put it in the financing folder. So if you're out there, put it in the financing folder.
Or just put it on Twitter. I don't know. Elon will share it for the world.
Yeah. So it's just crazy and listen, I don't like to be a conspiracy person. I like to be a truth person. And I think the scariest part so Dr. Phil always says
oh my God, you and fucking Dr. Phil.
Dr. Phil always says that the what does he say? It's like the crazy or the scariest part about a lie is a lie with a little bit of truth. Or something along those lines. And I think that's what we have here is like the scariest part about this conspiracy is that there is truth to it. And that's that this program has existed. It existed for a long time. We have thousands of documents of proof. So
thousands. And you want to tell me that one person committing suicide stopped this whole thing? Come on.
Right. You want to tell me that Britney Spears is free? You want to tell me that she's free?
Right. Poor Britney. If you guys didn't listen to us on our live with Avery Warner, host of Chiller Coin Podcast, we will be releasing it soon. But we definitely go down the Britney rabbit hole.
specifically about her wedding and all the symbolism and all of the things that just did not line up with the legitimacy of this wedding.
Right.
So whenever that's out, we'll let you guys know. But the whole thing just makes me sad. I don't think that girl's ever going to be like quote unquote normal. Even if at the end of the day she's free and all is well, she's never going to be like okay.
No.
But it's so sad. So this concludes our short, sinister story. Of course, if you are just listening, we love feedback. So like, please go to our Instagram, shoot us a message. And then if you're on YouTube, obviously leave us a comment. And we're doing something new today. So a lot of people have reached out to us about starting a podcast. Obviously, I had another podcast years ago. And Something Sinister is, hate to brag, but it's doing pretty good, guys. We are succeeding. And that being said, we have done our research when it comes to starting a podcast, figuring out what platform works for us. And the platform that we use is Buzzsprout. Buzzsprout will, all you have to do is upload your podcast episode. They distribute it for you. They will send you monetizing options. You can even create a website through them if you want to. I mean, just everything is so easy. And like I do majority of our editing. And so like I need easy, and Buzzsprout was great. So that being said, if you want to start a podcast, you can start it for free. But there's obviously like other you can get like premium access and all this stuff too. So you have better success. But if starting a podcast is something that you want to do, please message us. We do have an affiliate link with Buzzsprout. And just for signing up, you're going to get a $20 Amazon gift card. So if
free
that's
money.
something... Yeah, free money. I mean, who doesn't use Amazon? So this isn't sponsored by Buzzsprout. We just want to let you know of the opportunity because we have so much fun podcasting. It's such a fun hobby / I mean, at this point,
job.
Fucking job. Okay, so we have so much fun with this. So we can send you the link if you're watching on YouTube. I'm just going to post it in the description as well. It's the affiliate link, but just want to let you guys know of the opportunity.
Yes.
And if you don't want to start a podcast and you're like, whatever, I just want to support you guys, I want to give you guys all of my money, go to our Patreon.
Go to our Patreon or link in the bio. You can donate to us on PayPal. You can send us to the podcast movement in August, the week of August 22nd. And again, sign up on our Patreon. You can purchase our merch. If you do sign up on the Patreon, you do get a discount on merch. So it's kind of like a win-win situation. So
unlimited too. Like every time you shop, you can get that discount.
Yes.
$1, $5, and $10 option. So it depends on how special you want to be to us. So you decide that. You decide how special you are, but
you decide.
But that's it. We'll see you guys trivia night, and then we're going into a new astrological season.
We are. We are going into the next season.
Do you know what it
is? What is it? We have. Hang on. We are ending Gemini and moving into.
I will say this while she's looking it up. Gemini, you guys are some fucked up people.
I was thinking either Cancer or Virgo, but it's Cancer. So
yeah, Virgo is September, I think.
Yeah, so it's Cancer, Leo, Virgo. We haven't talked about Cancer yet, so
I know, uncharted territory. Virgo, Gemini, I'm glad to be leaving you guys behind. I was sick of the two-parters. You guys are way too prolific. Chill out.
So much, so much.
All right, guys. Well, we will see you next week. We'll see you Cancers next week.
Stay sinister.
Bye.